All right, welcome to another episode of the Introverts Show. We're just a couple of artists trying to make sense out of this crazy culture war. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a certain subject that I've been kind of curious about for a few months, and that is just how do we make, generally speaking, just normalcy trendy again? Um, by that, I mean just traditional values back into mainstream culture, or whatever you want to call it. Anyone want to at least start off? Um, I guess what do we mean by just traditional values? If anyone wants to explain that, what we mean by that. Benevolent?
Um,
I guess we can start with just maybe let's talk about just family values. I guess we can go from there. Like what do you mean by that?
I'll
Traditional.
go. Oh,
I think traditional home values where you have two parents in the home, a mother and a father helping raise the family.
Mhm.
I mean, that's your base of is it the nuclear family?
Mhm.
That's what people strive for.
Yeah, at some point, it became, I guess, trendy to sort of bash that concept, and we're here now where I can't think of any popular show that just promotes just traditional family values. It almost kind of snickers at it in a weird way. Um, everybody on mute?
yeah, I was gonna say, if we can go back to a time where television wasn't so in your face,
Mhm.
like go back to watching shows that promoted more family values, like what was it, Steve Urkel with Family Matters, like
Mm.
Family Matters,
Yeah.
and I mean back in the day when the Cosbys was cool. And they'll have
Before some things happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
or like my favorite show was A Different World, which I mean
Familiar.
it wasn't necessarily about family, but I feel like it taught more about just being a normal human,
Mhm.
being more respectful, being not just respecting your peers and your elders, but also respecting yourself and your own self-image,
That's a show that was about college, right? With
yeah,
Jasmine Guy or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. She was beautiful. But yeah, I remember that show.
I mean, even if it wasn't in an immediate traditional household, like I loved watching Fresh Prince, for example, but like the root of the show was this stable home, that Will didn't have. So he was living with them and experiencing that and the stability and the support and everything from that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, like could a show like even Family Matters even like exist nowadays, or would that just would that be promoted on mainstream anything nowadays, like just a family show?
I think that the problem with some of these older shows like Family Matters, Full House, it
Hmm.
was a good representation of the family unit.
Hmm.
But I think the reason why they may be a little bit out of date, well, is only because um, they're very idealized family situations, and I think that's what turns maybe people off, because a family unit is a really good thing,
Hmm.
but not every. I think they fail to portray part of the flaws that come with the family. There's still a little bit more struggle than that they really showed. I mean, you see a little bit of conflict in some of these shows, but it seemed that they always like pull back because they want to make it a family show. And I think over time they sort of turn people off, and then that's when they started countering, and then that's when you started getting more of that SJWs, like who cares about religion, who cares about family values. Sort of
Hmm.
that's when they were able to capitalize on that and sort of like take it the opposite direction.
Hmm.
And I think it's very important also to point out, not just to complain, but point out the solution. And I think the reason why family values belong in pop culture and TV shows and comics and all that stuff is because it's really important to have a family, because you don't have to be religious. You don't have to be, you don't have to follow a set of laws. It's not like a dogma, but as soon as you take on the responsibility of getting married, having a kid, you're taking on that responsibility that turns you into a man that makes you proud to have a family. That's where you start developing those traditions and values. And that's the way of the, I guess, American life. And I think that's what it is. It's going to vary from family to family. But when there's no family, how can you start any kind of like tradition or establish values and have like, if there's no there's no dynamics between like the mother and the father and the sons and the brothers, like you have to go through those dynamics of fighting with each other and then making up like, oh no, you need to share, you need to be able to appreciate what it is that your father is doing. He's working 60 hours a week, stuff like that. You can't really learn that like if it's just you and you're out there sleeping with everybody.
Yeah.
And-
I don't know what it is, but it seems like, I don't know, at one point that like traditional family values or whatever you want to call it has sort of become like kind of synonymous with being religious in a weird way.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to be religious
Yeah.
to have good values. And that's the point I want to point out before I forget, because you don't have to be religious to be a decent person. And that's a problem that I have with a lot of people. It's like, oh, you're only pro-life because you're religious and you're following your God, or it's like a dogma, it's a cult, whatever, all these excuses. But you don't have to be religious to be a decent person. Say late term abortion is a bad thing. It's like, it's not a good thing. A lot of I've spoken with girls that have come to me in confidence and asked me and told me I had an abortion and I regretted it, and they've actually even gone through the process of like what they did, of like the horror, the details of like what it is actually do to them. And I think it's a very traumatic experience to them, and a lot of them don't come out the same. And that's, I think a lot of those SJWs that you see out there is because they've gone through that, and it's like they've probably gone through that like several times, and now they don't have any empathy, because like it's all about themselves. It's not about anybody else but themselves.
Yeah, that is a interesting point. I mean, I can't really think of like SJW-ness really meshing well with just a family unit in general. Like the idea of like a family that is full of SJWs.
Yeah, it's all about them. That's why they have the green hair, they have the piercings, they have the tattoos. They're trying to fill like a void that they can't feel. Like I mean, if they had a kids, or if they had like a family, somebody that they can love, they would be able to, they wouldn't be who they are. They wouldn't have like all those tattoos and sleep with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut up.
You can keep going. That's good.
That's why they call me the benevolent asshole.
I think that it's pretty true. You know, I do feel that way when it comes to the whole SJW movement. It's more like a self gratification thing. They're not thinking about like how they're affecting anyone, or how their views might be taken on somebody else, or somebody else's views in general. You know, they don't respect other people's views. So they only want to do their own views, and if you don't agree, then you know you're the person who's in the wrong. But I was gonna say, like, I mean, there are some TV shows, I mean, that were pretty successful in their, you know, and currently, you know, like,
like which one?
Modern Family, I think, was a really good show. I don't know if it's still on air.
It's we've been watching it on Hulu.
Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that.
We've actually been watching it every day here recently, and it's so well done.
Yeah, it is. And you know, and they you know, they promote family differences, you know. The father, I think like their father is like way older, but he's married to a younger woman, and then they had a kid, and then you know, they're different, and then he has a gay son who's married, you know, and then he has a regular son who's, or is it his daughter who's not?
Daughter, yeah.
Yeah, you know, and like they put the oddness of different family world issues, I guess, you know, into a show that doesn't push any agendas. I never felt like I was being forced to watch a gay couple or anything like that.
How's the gay couple represented? Like, are they kind of traditional in a sense, or are they more
I think that they're very traditional in the show.
They're very traditional, and they end up adopting a girl, and like they don't hide their gayness at all on the show. They're living together, and then they can't get married yet, and eventually the show evolves. Time goes by and it's legalized, so then they do get married on the show. But it's still a very kind of traditional family values environment, you know. They still strive to be married and have this family, and they all are so very different, but they all love each other and look out for each other and everything too.
And then what was another show I've currently seen? I mean, they try, you know, I feel like a lot of the reboot shows, you know, I think that they're I think
Cobra Kai
stuff.
I
love that show.
I'll talk about that later. Cobra Kai was a good one.
No, I mean, like well, not shows like Cobra Kai. I mean, that was a movie reboot into a TV show. I think that they did that one really well, actually. But I think like family, not family, was it Full House? You know, they like, I feel like the old version of Full House was more family oriented, even though that they were like, the house was very diverse. You know, there's a bunch of men living with a father who's trying like a single father, you know, and they still managed to bring the family unit into play there. But I feel like the new version is pushing more of the SJW mindset, you know.
Yes. So I was a huge fan of Full House, because I'm a huge dork. But yeah, I used to watch it all the time when I was growing up and everything.
I was more of a step-by-step guy myself.
I watched a lot of step-by-step too.
No,
but I was actually
the
really
best.
I was actually really excited when they did the reboot of Full House into Fuller House, because I was like, it's a pretty hokey show, but you know, I'm gonna give it a shot. So their first season of the reboot really wasn't too bad. It was kind of a good mix of the new families and everything, and you're kind of like learning about them and stuff with some of the old feel. But man, it really, for me, it took a turn. Like it was just painful to watch it, and
painful, like the writing was shit, or what do you mean? I mean, Terry can get into this.
It was pretty cringe. Like, yeah, like the first season, it was like once you get over the nostalgia part, you know, after they introduced all the old cast members coming back doing cameos, after that all died down, then it started becoming more, let's do the check mark. You know.
Oh, okay.
So then it's like, you know, and then you're like, okay, so there's no real story here anymore. Like why can't they like make the story more?
Well, stories have to kind of revolve around characters. If it doesn't revolve around the character, if it's not believable to the character, then you're just sort of like imposing these narratives that just don't gel with the characters because it's not them.
It felt very forced.
Yeah.
Like some of the situations that they put them into. And I realize this is a fictional show and fictional characters.
Yeah.
But like where you see the story and everything going, like it doesn't match where they push it into. So I don't know. Like I was excited about it at first, but now it's hard to watch it. And it was kind of one of those things that's like, well, I've already dedicated so much time to it, so I'll turn it on in the background just so I can kind of like listen to it now and finish it up while I'm doing other things. But I don't think if they're going to do another season, I'm not going to be watching it again.
Yeah, there's something about, from what I've kind of noticed, like how it's sort of how these things are portrayed. Like tradition is sort of seen as kind of nerdy or lame, and anything else is sort of like hip and trendy, and like like the cool characters are like, they're
Yeah.
into this, and they have pronouns or whatever the fuck.
Well,
There's something about like how do, I guess, I don't know, creators or artists, whatever, how do we make like tradition cool again? I guess, like if you guys have any ideas.
I thought Roseanne was doing a good job,
Yes.
and then they canceled it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they didn't though. They
Well,
canceled her.
Yeah, they
And
canceled
then-
her.
Oh yeah.
And then they turned it. I'd never watched it, by the way, after she got booted.
Yeah, I didn't.
I refused to watch it after that. I was like, you can't. The whole show is Roseanne.
Didn't you guys see like an episode after she was kicked out, like how they explained it or something like that?
Nope.
Or
I don't actually know what happened to her on the show.
think they
was
killed her
I
off.
was very upset
they killed her
about.
off?
I think that they killed her off. I think she had like a heart attack or something like that. I think that they killed her off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I just couldn't. I was upset about it because it was actually really well done, and it was, I think, wasn't it like the highest rated TV show at that time?
Yeah, I think
And
it was kicking ass in the
you
ratings.
couldn't have that because it was presenting some thoughts in there that
I mean, they tackled the SGW, the whole trans thing.
LGBT.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
LGBTQ thing, and like they tackled everything
Yeah.
on there.
Right.
And
the
that's
whole
in a
differences
really
in
good way.
politics within the family and still
Yeah.
loving each other even though they think different. And
Wasn't her character like a Trump supporter or something like that?
oh yeah,
Hmm?
yeah,
Did
Well,
she
I
like
think that
voice
they
it in the
were.
show, or?
yeah.
Hmm.
What was that?
I think that they were, her and her husband were, and then her sister was the SJW.
Yes.
You know, she had the pussy hat and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think the reason why it's so difficult to compete with these SJW shows is because they don't allow their characters to do anything. It's kind of like when I don't know if you've ever had like a friend that comes to you and then they'll say, "Hey, date or benevolent."
You almost got-
What do you
almost
think?
slipped
What do you
there.
think I should do about this? Or you think it'd be okay if I did like ecstasy once, or
Mhm.
you think it'd be okay if I sleep with my best friend's friend?
Yeah.
My best friend or my best friend's friend, and like all these bad things, like things that they know they shouldn't do, but then like you a bad friend would obviously say, "Oh no, don't do that." So that would be the conservative, don't do that. But
Mhm.
then like the SJW, the people that are making the shows now, the producers, they're like, "Nah, man, do the drugs, have all the sex." That's the reason why it's so hard to compete with them. But I think it's not so much that we need to ignore these SJWs. I think shows like Cobra Kai have done like a good job at interjecting. I don't know if that's a word, but it sounded kind of cool. Interjecting
is.
like
It is.
pop culture from the 80s because of the Johnny Lawrence character,
Mhm.
and having some of these SJW moments, interaction between some of these just like interaction between like the old and the new.
Mhm.
And I think it's very interesting when you put them together. But when you only have one side, when you only represent the SJW side, it just falls empty because it's not realistic. Life is not that it's like half empty. When you only have the SJW side or you only have the conservative side, then
Right.
it's not complete. And I think we just need to sort of like somehow interact, just like the Cobra Kai was successful in doing that. But yeah, it's hard because if you have a friend and you tell them, "Oh, don't do that," they're gonna hate you. But if you tell them, "Oh, go along, have sex, do the drugs, do all the bad things," they're like, "Yeah, that guy's a homie. That's the cool dude." And
Yeah.
that's people that just want to take the guilt away from themselves. If somebody tells them, "Oh, I can have an abortion, that's fine," they're like, "Oh, I can have an abortion. Let's do the abortion."
Yeah.
You know, there's all these corporations that are like pushing that. So it's I can see how some of these people get pulled into that. But I think we just need to like um we can do the same thing. We just need to like be able to show like an interesting interaction between SJW and to like between SJW and more conservative values. There's like conflict there that needs to be a story that needs to be told
I
there
think
that people are
something that's
not capitalizing on it. But you guys can go ahead. I'll stop.
I was just going to say, I think something that's missing is where we've got the SJW versus conservative sort of thing where no, don't do this, and yes, do all of these things. We're missing the free thought in the process. So why shouldn't you do these things? And I realize that's not really an exciting topic necessarily for like a TV show or something.
I think it can be though. Like I
but-
think
But like if you're encouraging to characters or each other just in general in life, if we take the TV part of it away from it, if you're encouraging people to think about what it is that they're thinking, why do you think that doing the abortion is bad? Why do you think that doing it is good?
I think
you've got your pros and cons in life, and I think that's you're eliminating thought.
yeah,
I
there's
think
like
if
go ahead.
I was gonna say like I was trying to string some words together, but I think if you can somehow portray strength and courage through resisting temptation, if you can portray that in a way that, oh wow, this guy has all these girls throwing themselves at him, there's all these people trying to get him to do drugs, and if you can have like a character that's like, no, I'm not gonna do that, I'm gonna take care of my mom, or I'm gonna take care of this is more important to me, a character like that that's just gonna be like, whoa, are you freaking kidding me? This guy is like fucking crazy. This guy is like the man. Like we have to somehow like write a story that is gonna have an interesting character that's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna like do that. I'm gonna take care of my family. I'm not gonna give in to that temptation. And I think that could be portrayed in a way that's very very attractive, very cool, very very interesting, very even heroic, I think.
I
I
think
think
that a lot of the TV shows that are like that, I think that they make them R-rated. Like I love Outlander. I want to call it Highlander all the time. Outlander. And I started watching it, I think on Netflix. I started watching on Netflix. Now it's on Hulu, or is it on like HBO now? I don't know. But now I can't watch it.
Is that like a night show or something like that?
Yeah, it's like it takes place in like Ireland. It's about this woman who like ends up traveling back into time by accident, and then she ends up falling in love with this like Irish like warrior dude. And and like the way that they're married, they're a family, I mean, it might take place back then, but like that bond of husband and wife, it's romantic, it's desirable, but I mean, they put all, it's X-rated. I wouldn't say it's X-rated, but I mean, it's definitely rated R, or NC-17 or something, even like Game of Thrones, it kind of has it all in there. There's the husband wife kind of aspect to it, and then there's the sinful stuff to it, what's good and what's bad. But I think that like a lot of like TV shows, TV dramas, they can't write them to be so engaging, because they can't figure out how to do anything like that. I also think that I mean, it's so much easier to just throw all the bad stuff into something that's funny, that they just take all the values out of it.
You guys think it's like a more of a like a lack of talent of the people that writing this that are making that just they don't have the skill to like portray traditional stuff very well, so they have to like
no, I think that there are other powers that be that are forcing them into writing a certain way.
Mhm.
whoever it is that they're working, whoever it is that they're working for, this
Yeah.
evildoer. But I think that because I mean, when you think about like a TV show or something, it's produced by certain people. The funds are coming from somewhere, and it's
Mhm.
generally in one of these larger corporations are involved. And I mean, like mainstream media and all of that stuff, like a lot of it is all kind of run with the same sort of thought process.
Mhm.
So I feel like that has a lot of impact on some
Mhm.
of it, and I do think some of it's lack of talent. I mean, you could see
Yeah.
that, you can see that by some of the actors and actresses and things.
Yeah, I'm
but-
getting that vibe too, because like I used to love The Simpsons, like in the golden age when it was like in the
Mhm.
90s,
Yeah.
and I kind of lost track of it. I don't know, in the last 10 years, and I just recently, here and there, just watch a new episode, and I could just notice the quality of the writing just isn't quite there.
Yeah,
I don't know,
I think
like
I think that happened with Family Guy too, honestly.
Well,
But-
I don't think Family Guy was ever really family-ish.
Oh well, no, but I mean, just like the quality of the show.
mhm,
Oh yeah.
It's like it was funnier, and they were able to balance it out a lot better during the first several seasons.
mhm,
But like some of the newer stuff now, like I used to laugh at least at some point during each episode,
mhm.
but I can go like a few episodes now and not laugh. Just
I
'cause it's
haven't
not
seen
very
any of the
funny
newer
anymore.
episodes, but
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the newer episodes either. I think I stopped watching The Simpsons like back in 2015.
mhm.
I think it was like the last time. And then if I watch something now, it's usually old episodes.
I haven't
Yeah.
watched new episodes of Simpsons probably since like '04 maybe. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's probably about right for me too. I think at some point when I was in college, I stopped watching The
Mhm.
Simpsons. That
Yeah,
had
there was-
nothing to do with it other than the fact that I just didn't have time to watch TV.
I noticed when I was watching the newer episodes, like there's just some. It seems like the people that were writing it just weren't having as much fun and in milking certain jokes that like the older episodes would do.
Yeah.
It seems so like they're trying to cram like the newer episode, like they're trying to cram so much shit in one episode that it doesn't let the audience just breathe and like enjoy a joke here and there.
You're talking
I
about the
think-
newer Simpsons, or
Yeah, they're just so
yeah?
fast paced. It's like
I did notice that when Family Guy came out,
mhm,
the Simpsons rating changed, because I
Mhm.
think that Family Guy was kind of like Simpsons was losing that luster.
mhm,
And when Family Guy came out, it was like, this is the kind of stuff that we wanted to watch,
Yeah.
that Simpsons was losing. But then it started turning into like it was trying to be more like Family Guy for a while. And I haven't watched any of the newer stuff. I just remember noticing that kind of parallel between the two shows. And then it put me off about The Simpsons, because I was like, now you're just trying to copy this other show. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I
agree.
remember when Family Guy first started. I was looking forward to like Simpsons sort of like not canceling, just ending and then just giving the plaque to the Family Guy, but then it just kept going and going, and I think it's still going on, right? Simpsons,
I think so.
and yeah,
Yeah, because recently they just I guess that they're trying to cancel
Apu, right?
yeah, Apu. Yeah, they're trying
Yeah.
to cancel Apu.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have yet, because I haven't I haven't watched it, but yeah, they were saying that they're gonna cancel Apu.
I even heard that. I think he apologized. The voice actor
Yes.
that was
Hank
portraying
Azaria?
Apu.
He did.
I
Because-
think I heard. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure if he apologized, but I thought I read that somewhere.
I think I read that too.
So I was like,
I never like followed up to see if he actually said it or not, but I
Mhm.
do remember reading that.
And apologize for what?
yeah.
Right.
I think
Like,
that's
he
the problem.
was one of the most iconic characters on
Mhm.
that show.
Part of it, it's the pressure from the mob. And the
Yeah.
problem is that like when people cave in, like thank God I'm not like famous like some of these people that get pressured or intimidated.
Yeah.
But I can see how some of these people give in from all the messages, by the phone calls, the emails, and all
Yeah.
stuff. And so eventually they give in, but like as soon as they give in, then that's when they can like pile on even further. And that's like a big mistake. I think people need to just like stand their ground and not give in to the mob, because the mob is just like right now ruling over everybody. But
Yeah, I think it's such a difficult spot to be in too, because
yeah,
if you do think different, you're shunned and you're attacked, and
yeah,
and like maybe you did do something that you're like, I do kind of regret doing that role or something,
Mhm.
but you don't have to apologize for it. You just be like, I've moved on. Um, like what was it? Like Kevin Hart, he was like, I refuse, if you don't believe that I have grown and I'm a different person now, then like I'm not going to apologize for jokes
Oh, you mean
that I said.
the Oscars thing, the trans joke or something like that?
I
Yeah,
can't remember
and
exactly
he
what
no,
it
I
was
think
was.
it has something to do with he made like a
Oh,
joke about like his son playing around with like another kid, and then like
no,
another
it's playing
kid
with
was like, I'm
dolls.
or dolls. Oh,
Yeah, I think it was playing with dolls, and he's like,
oh,
"Stop that,
okay.
that's gay."
Oh, okay.
That was
yeah,
legit.
yeah, they weren't even I think it was like a gay joke and something else. But it was, yeah, I mean, it was just another one of those things that was completely blown out of context. And comedy is comedy, and comedy can be offensive.
Yeah,
Now,
the best comedy to me has a touch of controversy to it.
Yeah,
I just
that's what
love
makes
that
it so
stuff.
funny.
Yeah,
yeah,
Like
now
the
people just
funny
want
stuff
to
is
knock
when
down.
you're like, that's probably not PC, but it's hilarious.
yeah. And there's something about like I've never witnessed a time where like mainstream anything was just so scared to be somewhat controversial
Mhm.
in any sense. It's like it's just not fun. There's no variety in anything. Um, and I'm someone that I love movies. I love good television. I love good music. But
Mhm.
when there's no like risk taking, it just takes the joy out of just experiencing these things.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think the risk taking is really what makes it most appealing.
mhm,
You want people to kind of say what it is you are thinking.
mhm.
And I know we've talked about like Trump and stuff in the past, but I think that's one of the reasons why he was so appealing to so many people, is because he just spoke exactly what a lot of people were thinking.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was refreshing for a lot of people, because people were forced to not talk about stuff.
Yeah, yeah. For me, like one of the reasons I was like, yeah, I'm gonna definitely vote for him was it felt refreshing to just finally see someone like in charge having the balls to at least talk about some of these things and not like
I know.
And he
sugarcoat
didn't
them.
back down either. Like he
Yeah,
didn't
for the
back
first
down to a
time.
challenge.
Yeah,
Like yeah, for the first time like in history, like because I remember Bush, I remember Clinton, I remember
Yeah.
both Bushes.
yeah. Hmm.
I don't remember what's his name. Well, I remember Obama.
Reagan or
Reagan, Reagan, I don't remember him that well because I was too young. But
mhm,
um, but everybody after Reagan, like
mhm,
I would hear them, I would like watch the news. I would hear them talk,
mhm,
but nothing made any sense. Like they would never get anything done. They would say, "Oh, I'm gonna do this. Oh,
Mhm.
mhm.
I'm gonna throw a 3-pointer and I'm gonna have a beer." Oh, he's
Yeah,
so down to earth, like Obama. And then like Bill Clinton too, like same thing, another gimmick. He starts playing his saxophone, like, look at
yeah,
me, I'm sexy. Like, look at me, I'm jogging.
What?
It's all gimmicks. And then Trump gets into office. I'm like, oh, this dude, like another actor, another fake person. I was like more critical of him than all of them. I was like,
mhm.
I was black pilled at that point. I was like, this guy, this douchebag.
Yeah. Me too.
And he proved me wrong. I was like, dude, this guy is actually saying what he's gonna do and actually following through and doing it. I was
You know
like,
what?
For
Yeah,
me, it wasn't even necessarily that he's going to do it. I just appreciate that he was at least mentioning these things.
yeah, he was completely
yeah.
transparent. I'm like, whoa, I actually know what's going on. Before it
Hmm.
was like all like just going in circles. Now it's like this
Mhm.
guy's actually like explaining politics in a way that I can actually understand.
Hmm.
Like you can actually get things done. And then that's when I started reading books. I read his book, and I understand why he did the things that he did, because he understand what was going on. He understand like how to get things done. He understood the red tape that you had to go through. He knew how to get around all those things. And
He
I
did.
remember getting on, I think leaving a comment. That's the problem with the art community, is that the art community sees somebody that's an amazing artist, somebody that I can respect the art. I can say, oh, this guy is awesome. Like Steve Brodner. I remember going through his art for like a long time. I used to follow him and loved his art. I was like, oh, this is really good. Like very, very, very good, good art. And I remember like leaving comments every now and then. Like one time, I pointed out after reading The Art of the Deal, I brought up the whole, I don't know if you guys are aware of the whole Woolman rink, how he ended up building the Woolman rink in New York City.
Never heard
But
of it.
I don't remember
You want to
the
talk
name
about
of
that? Or?
I don't remember the name of the mayor at the time in New York,
Mm-hmm.
but for like a long time, the Woman Rink, it was like a skating rink in New York. I think in some kind of plaza, New York Plaza, and for like a long time, it was dilapidated and it was like not functioning. And I remember like his daughter, Trump's daughter, was like, "Daddy, like I want to like skate in this skating rink, but like what's going on? Like this skating rink was supposed to like be built like 10 years ago, and like the mayor was getting all this money. I forget how much money he spent. Like he was getting all this money to build this skating rink.
Mm-hmm.
Like it took like over 10 years and he still couldn't get it done. Trump offered to get it done. And initially the mayor of New York was reluctant. But eventually Trump was able to find a way to actually get him to agree. And then so he agreed, and Trump and his team like ended up building the Woman Rink. Woman Rink, I forget the amount of money that he paid, but it was like under budget, and it
Yeah.
only took him like a few months to get done, because he actually consulted people that knew what they were doing. Like he consulted like a company in Canada like that specialized in skating rinks. So he just specializes. He's like, he's not, if he's not an expert at something, he just looks for the best. He's like, okay, like how do I solve this? I just find somebody that knows how to do it. I may not know how to do it, but I'm gonna find somebody. He's humble. He's actually
Yeah.
humble. People don't realize that he's actually humble. He's like smart in picking the right people. And I remember on the Steve Brodner Instagram, I left like a comment about Trump, because he's like one of those Trump bashers. And I
Yeah.
told him, I left that story as a comment on his Instagram like a few years ago. And he just like oh, actually before he deleted it, somebody was like, there's like people saying, I didn't know that, really, tell me more. And then like he deleted him and he did me, and then eventually he blocked me. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? It's like, and that's the problem, is that just because somebody is a good artist doesn't mean that they have your best intentions. So maybe learn from them, but a lot of these artists, they have an agenda. And that guy, he has like I think he has like a school and he teaches. So along with just teaching, he also indoctrinates the people that he teaches. So if you want to learn from him, that's fine. I'm not criticizing him for his art. I'm criticizing him for pushing down his propaganda on students and people mistaking it for I guess intellectual what do you want to call it, like strength, like, oh, he's a pseudo intellect as far as I'm concerned.
We have a lot of those, you know, in today's media, and you know, artists like what is it, Little Nas X doing his devil shoes and his strip pole dancing and to hell and stuff, you know. Like we've got these people out there like teaching our children that, well, this is what's hip and what's cool, and then they're following along with it. It's like the Pied Piper, you know.
Yeah.
They're just playing the flute and the kids are like, oh, hey, we're gonna go follow him because
Yeah.
he's got the cool thing, you know. It's
Like
very sad.
for him, what was kind of disappointing, I guess would be kind of a good word to use for it. But what was disappointing about him is he had a strong kid following. You know, he had a lot of kids that were looking up to him and followed him because of his past work. And then the direction he's gone is so strange as far as somebody who would have like a large young audience following them, like, and I have absolutely no problem with people having adult geared art and child geared art and everything. And you can even be a person that wants to be involved in both of those industries, but you should probably try to separate those entities so they don't overlap at any point, like remove your name from something if you're going to.
Yeah.
But it was just, I think what the disappointing part is, that he's leading a lot of these people to think a certain way and even behave a certain way.
Yeah.
When there's kids looking up to you, it's like you have to, not that you can't be yourself, but you have to take into account who's looking at you,
Yeah.
if you're a public figure.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's important to have like the family unit. I mean, if possible, have like the father and the mother involved, because there's always going to be people like him, like Little Nas, that are bad influences on kids. I mean, you can't help that. There's always going to be somebody like that that's going to be doing that. So if you have a father and you have a mother, it's going to be a lot easier to be okay, like to talk to their kids. Otherwise, it's just
and I'm not saying like Little Nas X, he can make whatever it is he wants to make. I'm not saying he can't do any of that stuff, I think he should be a more responsible role model if he's got a young following. I do believe that, but he can continue to make everything that he wants to.
Do you think
ultimately it comes down to, if you have children, you should be parents, and to help filter some of the content that they're receiving, like you should be parenting your kids and letting them understand.
I guess just to play like some devil's advocate for him, because I really don't care much about him, but like how much, I guess, do you think he has like I guess control over like who follows him or not?
I mean, anybody can follow him. I don't think, does he have an age restriction on his account or anything?
I have no idea.
I don't think he has an age restriction. The thing is though, like when he started out with that song. And then as soon as that song was really popular about for like young women with children, and it's like it's like kids and those what's popular, those big dance songs and stuff. When they're teaching them a new dance, and stuff like that. What's that one with the guy doing the stanky leg? Do the stanky leg, and then all the kids are doing the stanky leg, and it's like that. That's how that song was. It was catchy, and a lot of children followed it because they want to hear the cowboy song, and then their moms are playing it, and then it gets. I mean, maybe they didn't intentionally mean for it to be that popular amongst kids, but then they see that it is, so then they start going towards that demographic. But then, I mean, it's a lot like remember back in the 90s when people, singers like Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, they started off with being these Disney characters, these Disney teen girls, and then shortly after that, then what happens? Like Christina Aguilera comes out with her album Dirty, and then she's like stripping, and it's all that stuff. It's honestly, it's no different than that, except that it's a boy, and now the times they need to up the antics. So why not make him gay and make him strip down into hell and make him do this and make him do that, because it is the wow factor. It's what's going to make kids think, oh my God, it's the new latest toy. Let me get it. Let me act like that. It's very much that. I think, I honestly, I really don't think that it has anything to do with Little Nas X. I think that he is, that he's agreeing to it because it's giving him money. It's that whole entire selling your soul to the devil thing. He's selling himself out to the media. He's pimping himself out.
Well, I think a lot of these people are like victims too. I mean, it may sound like too nice, but a lot of these people, because it's like the big switch, because a lot of these Disney characters, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, Miley Cyrus, they all start off as innocent, innocuous characters. They're like products that they create. They're like, okay, you're gonna sing these songs, and they're like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to like sing these like pop songs, and so they don't even know what they're getting themselves into.
Mhm.
So by the time they're famous, and they're like, oh my god, I have all this money, I have this car, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, just sign right here, and it's like they just get sucked into this world, and next thing you know, they're putting on horns. They're like, oh, just put on these horns and
Yeah.
put on these
It's
these
kind of
symbols on your body, and next thing you know, like they're going through mind control, and they don't even know what's
Yeah.
going on.
So I was
A
just
lot of these
thinking,
girls
like,
are like really, really nice, conservative. Like look at Taylor Swift. She, I think, started off as being like a Christian girl, very conservative, very clean, and just sweet girl. And then just look what happened to her too. It's like a big switch.
it's funny you were talking, and I was thinking, I was relating it to what is it, Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the way you were describing it, you know,
Well,
like
it's like a
you
slow
get kind of
process
trapped in
over
this
time.
environment, and you
Yeah.
get told certain things over a certain period of time, and you get comfortable with those things, and then you just start behaving in a certain way to appeal to those people, because I mean that's ultimately, it's the same sort of kind of psychological control over someone, really, when you break it down like that.
Yeah.
Mhm. But I mean, I might have asked this again already, but like, how would one, let's say you're, you know, relatively Christian or whatever, and you want to make a show that is relatively Christian, or I mean, just have those sort of values into your show. How would you do that and not come off sort of like Ned Flanders-y, kind of lame? Like, how do you make it like somewhat cool again, I guess?
I think that's a good question, because we live in that world already. So
Mhm.
if you're, I mean, I'm not really, I don't want to say I'm really religious, but even like anybody that's Christian, they exist in this world, in this crazy world.
Mhm.
So it's really impossible for you, unless you willingly don't want to incorporate what's really going on in the world. I mean, but they still have to interact with like some of these evil people. So
Mhm.
I think just having an interaction, like an honest interaction between different characters that come from that have different point of views. I mean, they could still be anchored on Christian values, but they're still gonna have to like
Mhm.
be tempted by um
Yeah.
these bad people, by these temptations and all
Mhm.
these obstacles. I think this is it's uh it's possible. You still need to like be honest to the character. You're still gonna have all these these edgier
Mhm.
characters that are gonna interact with these more
Mhm.
I think where to make it more appealing to a wider audience, you can still have those base core values, based on, I mean, a lot of our morals and the way we function and everything in society, right and wrong and everything is kind of based on your Christian beliefs and, you know, church and just what you've been raised to think and everything.
Mhm.
But I think that where religion has become such even a controversial topic now,
Mhm. Yeah.
you almost have to, it sounds kind of like, I guess, dishonest, I guess, to say this, but it's almost kind of like you have to disguise it.
Yeah. I see.
You're not tricking people into believing in God. Like, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like, you have to make it come up, use those core values, but not be overly religious and,
Mhm.
I think there's ways.
constantly talking about praying and loving Jesus and everything. And I think that when people bring that stuff up too much, it starts to kind of like turn people away a little bit.
Well, definitely. I mean, like, you can have a normal conversation with someone, and then as soon as you say, well, God this or Jesus that, they instantly lose interest or want to engage in the conversation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think that there's television shows, like there's Chosen. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it. It's
Never heard
like
of that
all
one.
about it's all about like like the story of Jesus.
Mhm.
And like the production value is like on the like over the top good, like Game of Thrones good. Like
What channel is this on?
it's on like a Christian
Oh.
yeah, it's on a Christian streaming site, which really it should be on a lot of other a lot of other sites, because it's really, really good.
What's it
And
about?
huh?
What's it about?
It's about Jesus.
Oh, it's like a story of him.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
like you've seen the movie The Passion of the Christ, right?
Yeah.
Well, it basically takes place before that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it like follows like the whole story of Jesus prior to the crucifixion.
Okay.
And like the way that they do it, it's like it's really well done. And it makes it engaging, like it makes it more about the story and not just about the Bible teachings. I mean, like they
Mhm.
just took it and made it a movie, like literally, like that's it. And I think that they did it in a really good way. But I mean, like, you know, I think that there's ways of doing things where it doesn't have to necessarily be Christian. You
Mhm.
know, like I don't think that good values necessarily means that you're Christian. You know,
Yeah.
there are people that aren't Christians at all and they have good moral values. You know, I
Mhm.
mean, I mean, you know, those things are taught in the Bible, but does that necessarily mean that they just have to be just pro Bible? You know,
Right.
like I get it, but at the same time, like people are just labeling like good values in a category instead of just realizing that they're just good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just basic good ways to live.
Yeah. Like I think one show that did that pretty damn well was just classic Simpsons, because I mean, if you remember, they would go to church like every Saturday or Sunday or whatever, and you
Yeah.
know there was Ned Flanders. Ned Flanders was portrayed a certain way, but
Mhm.
he would always sort of ultimately kind of get like I don't know, he would sort of win in the end, and he would in a weird way, like they didn't really necessarily mock Ned Flanders and make him a joke. Like they would just mock him in as far as his dorkiness or whatever, but they still, you know, he was still a good guy, you know, still friendly dude. It's just Homer that just, you know, he just didn't like him because he was an annoying neighbor. Um, yeah, so that'd be like the only show that I can really remember actually portraying that really well, because the religion thing was never like upfront with people's face. It was just
Mhm.
part of their lives. I think
Yeah.
that's
And that's really what it should be. You
yeah.
shouldn't have to constantly talk about it all the time for it to be a
Mhm.
part of your life. Like it, I mean, my opinion of religion and stuff has always been just kind of, it's your own personal spiritual
Mhm.
journey. You know, it's not necessarily somebody else's.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I for the most part, I was raised Catholic, but as of now, or I don't know, for the last couple of years, I've pretty much been kind of, I don't know, what would you call it? Maybe agnostic. I just don't, you know, I respect what people believe in, but for me, I
mhm.
just don't have the time to really, I don't know, really invest in it. But you know, I don't view people that as evil either way. If they're religious or whatever, if that brings them joy, and you know, I don't mind.
I think anything that helps to encourage somebody to lead a good, positive life where they're good people and kind to people around them and respectful and everything, like wherever it is that you get that energy from, whether it's, you know, from church, religion, just family, just generally thinking things through in life and like, is this really the right thing to be doing? You know, like it doesn't have to necessarily come from religion.
Yeah.
But I think that, you know, if going to church for people helps them, reminds them to be better people, not that they're bad people to begin with, but you know, just encourages them and little reminders and stuff here and there. Everybody needs a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it can't be a bad thing to be encouraged to be a good person, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. You know, yeah, like I honestly, I don't know if I can identify as anything.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in the truth. I believe in following the Bible. I don't necessarily consider myself Christian because I don't go to church, and like I feel like there's a lot of Christian people that don't follow what's in the Bible. So I don't really want to identify with those people because I don't feel like they're preaching the right thing, or they're preaching but they're not acting what they're preaching, or what is it? However
Practice
that
what you preach.
goes.
Hypocrites.
They're not practicing what they preach, you know, but like I try to be that. I try to practice what I preach. And I think that, you know, I don't think that it has to be necessarily something that has to be Bible based to make it to show moral, you know. Like I think that the Bible has a good indication of what how you should treat people around you and how you should treat your environment. I don't necessarily think that it has to be just solely Bible. I mean, you know, there's I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that that's the same kind of stuff is pretty prevalent in other religious, you know, backings like Buddhism. You know, they talk about treating, you know, your fellow man like your brother and not as your enemy, you know. So like I think that those things are out there and that they're easy to portray. I think that is just that it's not eye-catching enough for these writers. I agree with Axiom. Like I think that they can do it. I think that a lot of it is maybe laziness, and you know, it doesn't sell. You know, like the masses are trying to look for that wow factor, while instead they're not focusing in on what really brings things together. They're just trying to get it out. It's like, you know, when you go from book to movie, you know, they take a lot of the value in that book or in that comic book or that video game out of it because they want to please the masses instead of pleasing, you know, the group that originally made it what it was. And then so instead of trying to get more people engaged in what it originally is, they lose the people that loved it, that followed it, you know. I think I think that's a huge like example of what people like what the media is and what Hollywood is right now.
I think the truth is out there.
Well said.
X-Files. It's X-Files.
End of
No,
episode.
but back to moreover the same thing that we've been talking about. I think what's important, going back to family, is that with family, we're always so focused on dividing. It's like, oh, who's better? Like, are men better, women better? Oh, I'm better by myself. It's not about who's better, because masculine energy and feminine energy are different. Like they're both good for certain things. Like, and we should be able to embrace those things. Like masculine energy is not better than the feminine energy. Is just that naturally guys are more inclined to be more a certain way, and that's not a bad thing. It's not to say that girls can't do that. It's just that we tend to be more a certain way. We tend to be more protectors or more to work with our hands. We tend to work less with people. Like I'm more of an introvert. Like guys, I think most guys don't really care about really being that social and going into these jobs like nursing or teaching. I mean, there's exceptions. Yeah, social work. And they're more like they got masculine energy is more about working with their hands or being more introvert. It's more it's different from feminine energy. I think when a family can come together, you're bringing together masculine energy and you're bringing in feminine energy, and that's like two powers when they come together. It's kind of like the Power Rangers. When you bring our powers together, we're the Megazord. So something like that. And then when you start making kids, then that's when you start establishing those values, and you don't have to be very religious or go to church, and just taking on that responsibility of having a family. And the power of prayer and this other thing, and just being unselfish. It's just moreover like having a family, and you're countering what it is that they're pushing in pop culture. Pop culture is all right now at the moment is all about the about self-indulgence, about, well, how can I get myself off? How can I do something for myself. What about being unselfish? Like I get more satisfaction in making somebody else happy, being able to like
Yeah.
share my art or be able to like, oh wow,
Yeah.
like it's something about being able to create something out of nothing.
Mhm.
That's something that is so overlooked. And just the dynamics of like having the family unit, it needs to be portrayed more in popular culture. And it's not a cult. It's not a cult. People, that's what that's the dogma that is being instilled in all these TV shows. Like, oh yeah, you're in a cult. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna go and do
Yeah.
drugs and do whatever. I'm like progressive, and that's what they've with a lot of people have been brainwashed with. It's like, okay, you're alone. You're like in an apartment, and you just, I don't know. You're just miserable. It's like you don't
Yeah.
have anything to show for it.
You're a vegan and
You're
fucking-
vegan. You don't even have an energy to like do a push up because
Yeah.
that's the thing. The whole vegan. Like I'm gonna go off into like something.
Yeah,
But
go for it.
I just
man.
need to get it off my chest. The whole vegan thing, I just don't get. If you want to be vegan,
Do it.
that's an
Yeah.
option that is there for anybody. But when they start pushing that on everybody, people are diverse. Like look at construction workers that work like 60 hours a week doing all this like welding and like all this hard labor. You think they're gonna like after like 8 hours of work, 16 hours of work, they're gonna sit down, I'm gonna get my vegan burger. I'm like, dude, it's like what the hell? I need like my burrito. I need like my
Now I
meat.
do, I do have to interrupt just very briefly.
Oh,
sorry. Oh, boy.
On the vegan thing.
Oh, dear.
I do know a couple of people who are vegan and are bodybuilder. Like, yeah, I was wondering about you. But I've seen they're very fit, active people. They have to eat a lot more because there's fewer calories in their diets, depending on what you're eating. But I am on board. Like it's again up to personal choice. You know, you shouldn't be forced down a certain road.
I've seen like some of those bodybuilders, like they're super cut and they're like, oh, I only eat apples every day, or like they have like a special diet. But I understand, but like there's a lot of people that want to have that option. Like if they want to get Taco Bell, if they want to get like something like just quick, they just need like they're burning a lot of calories. If they just want to get something quick that's meaty that has protein, I mean, why are you going to deny that from them? That's how this country was built. I mean, that's why we have all these skyscrapers.
Well, it's definitely
Otherwise, it wasn't built on like a vegan diet. I can tell you that.
it's definitely a way of eating. I mean, like any diet, like if you don't eat correctly, you can damage yourself. You know, like if you only eat meat and nothing else, like eventually like your body suffers from stuff like that. And
Yes.
like I was vegetarian for 7 years, I guess.
Damn.
And I can't say I was a good vegetarian. I probably didn't eat nearly as many vegetables as I should have. I was horrified when I found out like some things that had animal, like Hostess chocolate donuts have beef fat in them.
Really?
Yeah, it's like
That's
yeah,
awesome.
like when you suddenly like when you're when you're trying to avoid those things, and then you're looking at the packaging like, okay, vegetable and or so
Yeah.
not just vegetable. There is for sure beef fat in these.
Well, you need like a variety in your diet, and a lot of people that I've spoken with, like that are vegan or like vegetarian, a lot of them like ended up taking like supplements anyways. Like, oh, I need more iron, I need more. It's like, what's the point? Then it's like, I think it's up to the person, but when they're forcing the whole vegan agenda on us, it's like that's not a cool thing. I just don't like it.
Forcing that I wasn't always a vegan. I recently turned vegan. I was more vegetarian or pescatarian. And then but the reason why I'm vegan is because one, I just feel like the meat industry is shit.
Yes.
You know, like
it kept me vegetarian for a long time.
Yeah, you know, like the way that they keep cows, how they slaughter cows, and it's not necessarily the slaughtering of cows, it's how they personally do it. and like the environment that they're doing it in. Like all the meat's dirty. You know, it's like you're taking sick cows, killing them, and then feeding us those sick cows. You know, and the same with chickens.
Yeah.
You know, they're doing the same thing. It's mass production of chickens and cows. And I was mainly like I don't eat pork for religious reasons, but like beef, I love steak. But you know, like if it was from like an independent farm, then yeah, I'm gonna eat that steak up. I know where that cow came from. I know how it was slaughtered. I know all of its life.
You know,
But like when it comes to like going to the grocery store, it makes me want to stop, because it's like, how was that cow treated prior to it dying? You know, like how, like did it see the vet? Was it taken care of? Like how long was it a dairy cow before they decided to slaughter it? Stuff like that. But like I know a lot of vegans that are very
Annoying.
yeah. They're like crazy. Like I know, like I've been in the vet tech world since I was like maybe 19, and that's a long time. Like that. That's like nearly 20 years of being in the animal world. And you meet a lot of people that like even before veganism like became like a huge thing. You know, you get a lot of crazy animal people, and then you go into vegans and they become like really like religiously crazy animal people. And then it's, no, you're doing this wrong. I know everything. I know all the facts. You don't know anything. I mean, is it a better diet? You know, honestly, I can't really say that it's a better diet, because I personally feel like as humans, we're supposed to eat meat and we're supposed to eat veggies. Like we're omnivores, you know, we're supposed to eat both, like a healthy diet of both, you know, to keep our systems fully regulated.
Yeah.
But definitely like you have to like keep up with like taking vitamins, you know, to you know, supplement those nutrients that you're losing. You know, I think that's like a huge problem for me right now, is because like I'm used to eating chicken and fish with my veggies, you know, and like as my protein, and I can't, like I feel like I can't even do that, which, you know, sometimes I feel like I want to go back to that because I love fish. But yeah, like the crazy vegan world, you know, they like to definitely push their agenda on you, and I feel like they're not fully based on reality too. You know,
I also think that when vegans do that, they sort of like in college there was a guy, I think his name was Caden. I think he was one of those like annoying vegan guys. It just made me want to eat meat more. Like just out of being out of spite, you know.
Yeah. Like when I was vegetarian, I first had become, and I always still want to like lean back that direction again, because I get kind of grossed out sometimes about how much meat I'm actually eating. But when I first started, I was like, I have got to change something about how I'm eating. It was when I was in college, because I realized like all I was eating were these awful hamburgers and hot dogs that I could get, and I was like, ugh, you know, like I just need to cut things out and see what I can do. And then I started doing more research into like what you were talking about, TM, and that kept me vegetarian for a very long time.
Are you still vegetarian or?
No, I'm not. When I moved in with my husband, I realized that it's a lot of effort to cook multiple meals. So I just started eating like a little here and there and everything. And I've tried to go back a couple of times, but as I've learned more about nutrition over the years, I think I could probably do it intelligently now, and it'd be balanced and feel good and everything. But yeah, it was more of like a cold turkey, like I don't know what I'm doing, and now I'm starving to death.
Yeah. I mean, like I like the idea of calling it just my diet plant-based. You know, I don't necessarily like being called a vegan, because I feel like that like labels you as in this crazy category. And I mean, I'm mainly doing it, for health reasons, you know, like for healthy diet reasons, and then, you know, like the whole animal thing. Like if it was if we weren't mass slaughtering animals, to keep everybody, eating burgers and stuff or whatever they want to eat, although I don't really like burgers, I like steak. But I'll slaughter a cow for a nice meal. I don't mind it, but like, if it wasn't for those things, then I would probably be eating meat more often like I used to. But everybody's like just nuts.
I think when you get into like the really kind of obsessive vegan culture and everything, it's kind of the same thing that's going on in like politics.
Yeah, I'm getting that vibe
everything
too.
I say is right and you are wrong, and you are not a good person because you're eating animals and you're voting for Trump and you're
Yeah. Which I know a few vegans that are pro-Trumpers. So, but I think that the majority of them are probably very liberal.
I was gonna say, are those people though trying to force that onto other people, or are they letting people come to their own conclusions?
They're not.
when I was vegetarian, I was more liberal, and because the first portion of my life I was, but I still never I didn't like how people forced those sorts of opinions on other people, and so I wasn't one of those vegetarians that was like, no, but the animals, that constantly bringing it up every chance I got, and everything, and you can't possibly eat that, and that sort of thing. I was always really quiet about it. I to me, like, I felt like it was kind of like religion. That's my decision.
Same. No, same. Like, it's
and if
my
you want to have a
decision. I don't
conversation
care
about
what
it,
you're
that's
doing.
fine. But
Yeah. Like, let's talk about it. But at the same time, I don't really care to.
Yeah.
It's not the forefront of my life. It's just what I eat. That's it.
Yeah. For the record, I love meat, and I could watch cows getting slaughtered and not care, and still order a steak. I don't care.
You see that episode of The Simpsons where they go to the beef restaurant? Wait, was it The Simpsons or maybe it's Family Guy?
Which one? What happens?
And they go to I think it might be The Simpsons. They go to like a steakhouse that had just like recently opened up, and then they can pick out what cow that they wanted to slaughter. And Homer kept having them eat like all these cows.
I think that was Family Guy, but yeah, I remember that one.
And like he's like, yeah, I want that one.
Yeah, no, that one. No, that
No,
one.
I want that one.
Wasn't Lisa a vegetarian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember the episode. I think she's trying to debate whether she's going to eat something, and she has like a little like thought bubble, and it's like, it's like this little lamb.
Yeah. She tries to like be preachy to Homer, and then she like learns a lesson that it's douchey to be preachy. It's actually a very good episode. Yeah.
Yeah, that one has a Pooh, right? And then the guy from the Beatles, Paul McCartney. Was it Paul McCartney?
Yeah, Paul McCartney. Yeah.
McCartney, yeah.
Yeah, I think Apu had the garden on top of his shop or something.
Yeah, I can tell you that. I can quote
Yeah.
that whole episode. I love that. I love Simpsons. So.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
How the hell did we get to vegan? Anyways,
that was my fault. I'm sorry. Like
that was the
like,
benevolent asshole.
I just can't go.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's me. I can't open that door. I'm
it's
like all over the place.
We were on a tangent about how they really grind his gears.
I wanted to get into the topic of like Axiom. You do like more kind of I would say sort of pro-American apparel. I guess generally, like, what did you always have that vision for like your brand, or did it just you saw what was going on and you're like, I have to do it this way?
Yeah, so I probably the last few years I've become more political, I suppose. I think as many people have. And I started learning more and more and more about everything that was going on. And it bothered me so much. And, I'm just sitting here like in my living room, angry and how the world's going, you know, and not really able to do anything about it. And
Mhm.
when I was like, I got to do something to just try to like contribute to the community a little bit, as far as giving people different options
Mhm.
for things. And I did start my apparel, the shirt designs and everything, with the intention of kind of leaning a little more conservatively
Mhm.
with some of the designs and everything, and trying to encourage free thought and rights and just things like that in general.
Yeah.
So I did, when I started doing all of this stuff, I did launch it with the intention of kind of being another option in
Mhm.
the sea of endless patriotic shirts you can find. I also did notice how many flag shirts there are.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wanted to bring something a little bit different to the table too. So I've got like a lot of, I'm really inspired by like a lot of streetwear and
Yeah, that's why I liked your I started following because I just genuinely like your designs, but
thank you.
I just noticed that you like stayed away from like the obvious, like, some guy holding a gun and a flag in the back. You do a little bit
Yeah,
more kind of Nike-esque sort of designs,
yeah,
which I always thought
yeah.
was pretty cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I tried to. It's hard to enter a market that everybody has their hands in, especially now,
Hmm.
where everybody was like, "Oh, I'll start a t-shirt company from my house,"
Yeah.
sort of mindset, you know. And but yeah, like that's just kind of how I approach things in general. Like I want it to be a higher quality design, thought out,
Hmm.
and to possibly have an extra message behind it and everything too.
Hmm. Yeah.
Her designs are awesome. I just had to say that.
Thank you.
I forgot to the shoes that you did with a TM with a marine wrapper.
Mhm.
Mm.
Are there any? They're still available, or are they all gone? I forgot.
They are no longer available.
Yeah, those like went like the wind.
They
So it's like the sweatshirts,
They ran
the
away.
most high sweatshirts and the
Mhm.
t-shirts too, right? They just
Yeah,
skedaddle. They were
Mm.
gone.
yeah. The all of the sales on everything ended on Friday.
Okay.
This last Friday. Yeah.
Did you get any like pushback when I guess when you sort of decided or when you were telling people like the angle you wanted to go with your apparel line, did you get any weird pushback from people or were they kind of on board with it?
I haven't had too much pushback.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually, so when I kind of decided to dive headfirst into it, I
Mm-hmm.
fully expected to get attacked left and right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I do have a theory on this. I still don't have a great deal of followers, so I feel like if I had more of a following, that there would be more pushback because there would be more opinions in the mix.
Yeah.
I think part of it too is that the face of your product is just the apparel. You don't really have like a face to it. I think if there's like somebody kind of like putting themselves out there, they'd be like, "Oh, look at that person. They're stupid."
Yeah, they
It'd
could.
be a lot easier to like attack you. But since
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like
that
your
is true.
cool
That is one
apparel,
of the reasons why I've chosen to stay as a
yeah,
picture
I
here.
think that's very smart. Very
I don't really want to be identifiable, in
yeah,
a
your
in a
apparel speaks
perfect
for
world,
itself.
maybe someday I'll be a well-known brand, but until then, I'd like to keep my privacy, especially if I have an opinion on something that isn't. I have lots of opinions on things that are not popular,
Hmm.
and I'd also like to not be attacked all the
Yeah.
time.
How'd you
'Cause,
start how'd you start working with what's his name, the marine rapper? Did he find you or how did that work?
I first heard the Patriot,
Mm-hmm.
um, the song that Topher and Marine Rapper put out.
Yeah.
And it was such an inspiring song. So immediately I went and was like, I gotta hear the rest of their music, you know. So I started following them, and I started to connect with him because of the contest that actually both me and TM here had entered, and she won.
Was it the logo?
It was the
The
Culture
cover?
War cover contest.
Oh,
yeah.
right. Yeah.
So I saw that, and I was like, you know, this is the perfect opportunity. Like, this is right up my alley, you know, and he likes a lot of the same things that I like. So I feel like I could come up with some sort of combination of artwork. And I was really happy with what I submitted. It didn't win.
Oh, it was so good.
And that is
though.
no hard feelings at all. Like, you 100% deserve to win.
Like, yours was like, I'm like, no, that's it. That's the one.
Thank you. But so that I didn't win that one, but he continued to do other contests. And so I entered the next one, and it was the Dr. Seuss.
Oh yeah.
Suddenly Dr. Seuss was racist.
Oh yeah.
And they were
That was-
canceling his books and everything.
Was
So,
that your design? The Cat in the Hat play on that?
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Nice.
So I entered that one, and I did the with the little, like, the Lorax tree looking thing in
Yeah.
the background, the main one. And then the wrap in the hat. With
Those
all of
ones
the
are
hats
so
stacked on his head.
cool. Those
Yeah,
ones are
so-
so cool.
So I won the Dr. Seuss one, and then I entered another one. Oh, the Mr. Potato Head one too.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I had no idea
And
you
then
did
he
those.
started. He was just like, I think I need to put you on the payroll. So then we started working on some other side projects and stuff together.
Nice.
So, and I mean, from that, it's been cool too, because I started to do some stuff for some other musical artists, kind of in the same sort of conservative
Hmm.
field and everything too. So it's been fun, and nice to get to know some people.
Strictly like a more rapper based, or have you messed with any like Christian punks or anything like that?
You know, right now it's mostly just conservative rappers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm surprised. Like, there's like a lot more like conservative like rappers out there.
Yeah. I didn't
Yeah.
realize until I started listening to their music just how many there were and how good the music was.
Mhm.
I kind of given up on rap a long time ago.
Oh yeah, me too.
And like, there were just a couple songs every once in a while, one would come out and I'd be like, oh, this is cool, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, rap music went downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went downhill into a trash bin. That's where rap went.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the Marine rapper was like the first conservative rap that I heard.
Mhm.
My boyfriend got me into it. Like, he sent me a link, and it was like he like would rap about like patriots. And I was like, this is different. I'm like, okay, and it's good. Like, he's not like rapping about drugs and getting famous, or, you know, he's like rapping about moral beliefs
Yeah.
or what someone went through.
Mhm.
And after that is when Tyson, wait, is his name Tyson Gray?
Yes. Bryson Gray?
Bryson Gray, there you go. Bryson Gray came out with doing the MAGA challenge.
Mhm.
And then
Oh, I know
the
you're talking about,
MAGA
yeah.
challenge, like a ton of people started jumping in on that. And I'm like, this is really cool. Like,
Yeah.
it's so like, and like that right there, I think brought me more back into listening to rap music.
Yeah.
And then I started following, so I was following the Marine rapper, and then I started following Topher because he was posting a lot of videos about political like news.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, shoot, he's like showing the facts. And so, and then I found out that he was a rapper. And I'm like, and he's a rapper? And then I'm like, and he knows him? And then so I start following Topher, and then The Cure came through, and then I started following all three, and yeah, like, and then they like all got me back into wanting to listen to rap music. I like that, like their rap music is very clean. You know, it's about
Tyson
like
James
about
is another
something.
one too.
Huh? Which one?
Tyson James.
Yeah, and well, now he's new to me, so like now I've got him on my roster, and it's like, you know, like all these new rappers, they're rapping about real value, and they're rapping about life issues, things that you can actually relate to, where when it comes to rap music today, it's like you can't really relate to anything that they're saying other than booty, hoes, drugs, alcohol, and partying. Like that's it, because that's what's fun and trendy. So that's all these young people think that life is about. And then like now you get these other rappers and they're bringing in more morals and more life issues. And then you're like, wow, you know what? I more identify with this, you know, like, yeah, I have to like, what's his name? NF. I was want to call him Enough. NF, you know, he's like he's got like that Eminem style, but he's like actually rapping around about himself and like real things that he goes through and real issues that really matter, like depression and going through issues with your marriage and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of people are sick of, you know, the music today that's not about anything. Like listen to, what is it, what's her name,
Nicki Minaj or
no, what's her Cardi B.
Yeah.
oh right, yeah.
She doesn't even let her own child listen to her music. I mean, that should tell you enough about who she probably is in real life. And she's like spouting all this stuff about how to sexually please yourself and how to sexually please a man and all this stuff. And it's like you're teaching these young girls that haven't even reached that kind of maturity yet all these things that they shouldn't know anything about. And then like rappers that like Marine Rapper are getting like shut down on YouTube, and all he's talking about is how YouTube's canceling everybody. But then this woman's on here talking about how you need to deep throat a penis. You know, it's like, what's going on here?
Those are important lessons, though. Let's be honest. You
know, if you want to work on the Hollywood Strip.
Yeah. I guess we should probably start winding down.
Just a way to wrap it up.
I was gonna say like one last thing too. I'm so glad that there's like a lot of these conservative rappers and some of these people speaking up and talking about good values and something different, like counter to like what's going on like in the world right now. But it's such a disappointment in a lot of the music that I've listened to, that I grew up with. A lot of like, I grew up listening to all kinds of music, but just like punk music, alternative music, all that, like all these bands. Like I'm surprised like none of them, especially like the punk scene, have said anything about COVID-19, about like the lockdowns. You would think it'd be like, oh yeah, fuck the lockdowns, like let's get out, like fuck masks. Like you heard nothing. They're just like all of them like up in their like little rooms with their little Biden mask. Is such a disappointment.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of Biden
like,
masks,
what's that?
Speaking of Biden masks, when I was driving back from work the other day, there was like a off the freeway exit. There was like a dirty bum, but he had a brand new clean Biden mask on. That was really something poetic about that. I just thought was just wonderful.
Yeah.
Maybe someone was just like, I'm vaccinated, you can have this.
Maybe. I don't know. He was like a dirty one. He had like gashes on his legs and stuff like that.
Geez.
He was one of those kind of hobos.
Well,
you know?
weren't they giving out like Biden shirts like to like some of these illegals that crossed over?
Yeah, I saw that.
Like, brand new white t-shirts, like
that's horrible.
They hadn't even made it across the
like,
yeah.
And then like now in the detention, I think they have like a detention center, like a temporary detention center, like in Long Beach, and they're giving out what's her name's that one Kamala
Kamala Harris.
giving out her book. They're giving out.
Oh really? Can they even read it?
That's what I'm saying. And it's like in English, and and it's probably coming out of our tax dollars, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
she's
where does this
profiting,
money
she's
come
profiting
from?
from it.
Promote
All
my children's book, Indoctrinating Your Children.
All right. I guess let's do some final thoughts. Whoever wants to go first, just jump in.
I will say my final thought is look like the best way for, I think, for the world to get back values is to start canceling the people that are more promoting
Immoral.
immorals. There you go. Yeah. You know, no values or whatever you want to call it, you know, like put more of your attention on things that are positive and pushing out those positive vibes, because you know, I think that there's a huge fluctuation of negative emotions just going everywhere, and I think that a lot of it has to do with those negative shows and stuff that have no value.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, I normally, I've always been kind of indifferent to like any kind of politics being shoved into entertainment or art, but being that now it's come to a point where like it's so far left radical stuff that's being promoted, I'm almost kind of okay with like conservative stuff being out there, just to like get back to like some normalcy within our entertainment, because it's getting to be a little bit I don't know, creative killing right at the moment. And I just want like entertainment to get back to just people could just enjoy something and not be lectured. um and if to get to that point, like, you know, conservative value shows need to become a thing, then I'm fine with that. I don't know how you guys feel with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there have been a few shows that have come out over the last several years that have been more conservative values, and um, Last Man Standing's a good example of
Mm-hmm.
um, a conservative value show that is also accepting of other people's values. I thought that I haven't watched the most recent seasons of it, but I know at least the first several seasons of it were focusing on, you know, it's okay to have a different opinion, and these are our core values, and I respect your opinion even though I don't agree with it. And I think we need to get back to doing more of that. We need to continue to question the information that we're being told, you know, like get back to our core family values, and strive to be in that stable kind of encouraging and positive environment again. There's so much hate
Yeah.
going around right now, and it's exhausting, and it's damaged so many relationships with people permanently, you know, like on both sides, like
Yeah.
so I think
Um,
just continue to move forward and try to be positive, like TM said.
Benevolent, you got closing thoughts on this?
Yeah. I think, yeah, politics and pop culture have become so one-sided. And I think that we have a lot more in common, even though it's being depicted a certain way. We all are a lot more moderate, a lot more the same. I think we just need to like be able to have more of these discussions, like one-on-one. And these COVID lockdowns are not helping, because we're not getting together and talking next to each other, having a beer, and just like just realizing that we're a lot more alike than we think. And exactly, I should have my beer too. But a lot of the things that you're seeing right now, it's all a big illusion. Just about everything that you see is an illusion,
Yeah.
especially in the art community. A lot of these people that are making this propaganda is because they have kids, they have a family, and they have to do what they have to do, and that's fine. But realize a lot of you guys are looking at this stuff online on your computer, on your phones. A lot of this is just an illusion. Just to give you an example, if you go to, um, if you guys remember the Greta Thunberg
Yeah.
cover Time magazine,
Yeah.
that's fake. That's not real. That's not a real photograph. The Joe Biden and the Kamala Harris photo, that's the Time magazine photo front cover. That's not real. You guys know how I know that those are fake?
Oh.
Those were done by like an artist, not because he wanted to, but because that's what he loves to do. And you can easily find his channel. And you guys have to realize a lot of these things that you see are not real. And if that's something you guys were not aware of, that those are actually paintings. The one with Greta standing out there in the Time magazine cover, that was a painting done by Jason Seiler. Same thing with the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris next to each other, Time magazine cover. That was a Jason Seiler painting. So it makes you think, what else is not real?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything bad about his paintings. His paintings are awesome. That guy's like an awesome guy. But just realize that the world is not what you think it is. So do your research. I hope that some of you guys can join us and break the illusion.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Good episode. We'll see you guys in another time. Next episode, we'll probably be talking about college and whether or not it's even worth it nowadays. All right. Have a good one. Thank you for listening.